Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is 24th of June. I'm back from a good holiday, got some sun, but let's get cracking. There's lots to talk about, so it'll take a little bit longer than usual, I think. Let's start with Nvidia. Excuse me. Nvidia Thursday last week actually formed a bearish engulfing, massive bearish engulfing, taking out the previous day's bullish candle here. That is a top and reversal pattern, fairly strong indication. If we just highlight a little bit, we still have some support just around these levels here, around 115, 116. What is also interesting is that there's no divergence on the RSI. You can see that the RSI values are actually rising with the market moving higher. So I think it will be maybe just a short-term correction that we will see. But if it takes out 115 around that level, we could see a larger correction down to around 100. So a little bit stressed at the moment, but indicators are telling me at least short term we could push higher. And that would also spell into the medium term, which you can see here, it reached 300% or 3.0 projection of this correction here. To 141 level, and on the weekly chart we can see there is actually a divergence indicating a medium-term stretched uptrend. And if we look at the little bit longer term on the monthly, well, there is also a little bit of divergence. Here we can see, let's see if we add that one, it's very close to be cancelled. No, it's not, sorry. We actually have to look back here. So there's actually massive divergence here. So we are in a very stretched uptrend, but it can still short-term continue a little bit further. But expect a bit of correction down to 120, 116, possibly a little bit lower. We'll keep an eye on it. And that has, of course, also led the other semis to perform more or less the same picture. We had a bearish engulfing here Thursday, lower Friday, support around 242.5 on the SOX ETF and the Technology Select ETF also here. A top and reversal pattern, but still a bullish sentiment on the RSI and no divergence, indicating we're likely to see higher levels after a correction. The broad index S&P 500 also formed top and reversal pattern, but not that strong really, and also there's no divergence on the RSI. I think we will see a correction down to maybe around 5,400, and then it will start picking up again. So the summer rally is still on for the next few weeks and months. Nasdaq, on the other hand, formed this. It's not a perfect evening doji pattern here, where we have a bullish candle, then we have a doji, and then we have a negative bearish candle here that ideally it should open below the body of the doji, but it didn't. But still, it is an indication of a top reversal, at least short term, and we could see a sell-off down to around 19,300, possibly a little bit lower, maybe to around 19,000, and a little bit testing that. No divergence on the RSI, indicating we are likely to see higher levels on the medium-term trend. On the European market, the picture is a little bit different, really. We have the EUROSTOXX 50 in a confirmed downtrend, some strong support around 48.12, and this gap area that will be key to watch out for. 47.75 is that area down to. If it takes out that level, then we are looking at 4,700. If it closes above 49.49, well, then we could see a push to test the 5,000 level and the 55 moving average up here. So that's going to be interesting in the next couple of days. So keep an eye on these resistance levels there. DAX, a little bit indecisive, trying to bounce off the 100 moving average, testing the cloud at the moment. If it can close back above the cloud and above 18,500, well, then I think we can see a push towards the 18,784. Key support around 17,875 that should be observed. The Amsterdam index stepping a little bit sideways, but actually closed the 20th of June at its highest ever. So we are still in an uptrend. Weakening though, as you can see here, that the RSI values have been declining, but trust the trend, and a close above 918 is still the key. If it closes below, well, then we can see a break of the lower rising trend line here, and a still off down to around 900. But for now, it looks fairly strong indeed, despite the RSI excuse me, RSI values. The double top in CAC 40 actually reached its target and then some, closing almost that gap. It didn't close exactly on it. It closed a little bit, but it did touch the 7,464 level there, and then bounced very strongly. Now we have a resistance around 76.92. If it does close above, well, then I think we'll see a further bounce towards 7,800, 7,900 possibly, and then there will be some strong resistance around these levels here. But we had fulfilled the target for this double top pattern, so let's just remove those. If it takes out 7,464, well, then expect further selling down to around 72.81 level. And finally, on the Swiss market, stepping sideways, we have this type of reversal pattern in place, so the pressure is still to the downside. If it takes out the low here from the 17th at 11,955, expect a sell-off down to around 11,750. If it can take out that bullish candle there, 12,130, well, then we could see it trying to push higher and trying to cancel this top and reversal pattern. Euro dollar finds strong support here at 106.65. That's a fairly strong support coming from here in April, May. If it takes out that, well, look for a 106 level. There's the next support and possibly lower. We could see a little bit of a bounce. I will remove this one because that is actually obsolete now. We have some strong resistance at 108 and 10. If it does close above that, then we are back in bullish territory. So look out for that. But I think the pressure is to the downside, but short term a little bit of a bounce. Euro sterling. That bounced off 84, could continue towards 85. I'm not quite sure we'll get up there. I think we could be rejected around 84.75. We can get a little bit of guidance if we add the Fibonacci to the last sell-off there, possibly up to 86 before I think the downtrend will resume. Cable below 126.70. RSI is still in a positive sentiment, so we could see a push to get back towards and above 126.75. If it does that, well, maybe we can see a move up to around 127.50. But we are in a downtrend: lower low, lower high, lower low, and I believe we could see the further selling pressure down to 125.62 around this level, where we also have the 200 moving average giving some support. Dollar yen pushing higher. New highs, new higher close. They actually closed above these closes over here, but it didn't close above the peak here at 160.25. But I think it will test here in a few days' time. But it is interesting. We haven't seen these levels back at that level here around 160, and also now here. We haven't seen these levels since April 1992, where there was a peak, short-term peak there back then. So we are at these extreme levels. However, we are in a positive sentiment. There is divergence on the RSI actually, but we are still in a positive sentiment, indicating we are likely to see higher levels in the coming days and weeks. But it is pushing it a little bit. Euro yen also higher, taking out the previous peak here from early June, pushing higher, and I think we'll see a move towards the 172, 173 actually. That is my short-term target. Aussie yen also pushing higher. We haven't seen levels still for a very long time. either, so pushing higher towards 107. If we just zoom out a little bit, you can see how far back we actually have to go on Aussie yen for that. It's a very strong uptrend at the moment. Let's see, we have to go back to the 2007 levels at 107.88, and I think that will be tested here in the coming weeks. If we move on to sterling yen, more or less the same picture, also pushing higher. Let's remove this one and this one also, but then move on to the weekly chart. You can see where we are pushing towards 214. That's really a bit far away, to be honest, but we can say that, well, there's no divergence on the RSI. It's in a positive sentiment, so there is room up to that, but I think we will see a little bit of a pause around 203, 204, but medium to longer term, 214 on a sterling yen. Aussie dollar, on the other hand, hasn't really moved much since I was here last time. So just to recap, we need to have a close above the 67 level, and we need to have a break and a close below 65.80. That is the key levels to look out for on Aussie yen. Dollar Canada that failed to close above 137.85, testing the cloud at the moment. We are still in a positive sentiment, but there's no divergence on the RSI. No, there's not. So I think we will see Dollar Canada resuming uptrend here in a few days a week, and another test of this resistance at 37.85. Key support at 135.90. The EURUSD bounced off the 94.90 support level here. That comes back, you can see from these levels here around, and I just need to adjust a little bit right there. So around 95, 94.65, around this level with a bottom and reversal like pattern, and I think we could see test of 96.05 and maybe all the way up to 96.75. I think this is it actually, but if it takes out 94.65, well then we are looking at lower lows, but I think we will see a nice bounce. And let's just have a look if we add the Fibonacci retracement here, push up to the 38.2 retracement should be in the cards. Dollar Swiss also formed a nice double bottom here, not the most picture perfect or textbook perfect, but almost. And I think we'll see a test of a 90 level here in a couple of days. There's divergence, as you can see here on the RSI. If we just add that, and you can see how you do that. The lows here are higher than these lows here, but here we saw a lower low. That is indication of a trend exhaustion, a downtrend exhaustion, and a reversal, and will be confirmed by a close above a 90 level. Dollar Canada, well, 105.38 seems to be the pivot here, closed above, but I would like to see the RSI closing above 60 before I go full bullish, but I think the underlying is telling us the 55 moving average is pushing higher, and the 100 also, and we are above the cloud. I think we will see a push towards the 106, 106.30 level here in the coming weeks. If you heard a little melody a few seconds ago, that was just a reminder to me to do something, a meeting, but then forget about that. Let's move on to gold spot. That 22.85 is key support. Break below that and preferably a close, well then it will send it down to around 2200, and to the upside 23.85. This is the range to look out for gold here on the short term. It's a fairly large range, but that's how it is sometimes. Silver is still in a downtrend, lower highs, lower low, lower high. If we get a lower low below the 28.65, then the downtrend is further confirmed. However, there's still positive sentiment on the RSI. There's no divergence, indicating we could see silver pushing higher in coming weeks, but still it seems like the here we saw on Friday actually a bearish engulfing this bullish candle here. So the sellers are still a bit in control overall, despite buyers trying to take back that control. If it takes out the peak from the 21st from Friday, well, then there could be a push higher towards 32, 33. On the platinum is pushing above 1,000 now after bouncing off the 100 moving average and just a few cents above the 786 retracement. And I think we'll see a test of the 1,015 level here fairly shortly. If it does close above, well, then we are back in a bullish trend. On the energy side, we have WTI closing above 80 but 60, so we're actually in a bullish trend, supported by positive sentiment in RRs. I actually got rejected here at the cloud, but I think it will have another go, and if it closes above, well, then we're looking at 83, 85 level and higher. The Brent struggling a little bit, but also indicating a bullish trend supported by the bullish or positive RSI here. But what we can see, there's something dragging a little bit lower. 55 moving average still in decline, and 200 but 100 up. So there's a battle going on around these levels, so we expect some volatility. Finally, let's have a look at the US 10-year Treasury yields. 417 is the key support here short term. If it breaks below that, well, then we are looking at 4%. And if we can just put it into real money, so to speak, here's the future. It's 110.30. That is a key resistance. All right, that's all for today. There will be more detailed out on Nvidia later and some other semis. Have a nice day and happy trading.